Welcome to Roaming with the Ramsays. I'm Gordon.
And I'm Alice, and this is Sky. She gets to join us today.
If you're not already a subscriber, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, click the bell notification so you know when we upload new content. Today, we're checking out Cliff Dwellers in Arizona.
This is a really cool spot. We just happened to stumble across it, and we wanted to come back and visit this and give you some history of how this place became what it is today. So, in 1920, during the Prohibition
era,
Blanche Russell and her husband Bob left the East Coast, where she was a professional dancer, and came out west because he was diagnosed with tuberculosis and needed the drier air. So, in this area, their car broke down, and while they were waiting for it to get fixed, they fell in love with the area. Immediately after getting their car fixed, they purchased this land.
First, they turned it into a dwelling, and then it became a tavern.
And then after that, years after that, it grew to having a gas station and a restaurant. They sold the land after several years to somebody else who also increased it to being what it is today. So behind us is the original house that Blanche and her husband actually built to live in before increasing anything to the tavern and all of the other things that were on this land. So we are going to take you and give you a nice tour of what they built and kind of imagine how it was to actually live in this area with this type of landscape.
So let's take a step back in time to the 1920s when Blanche Russell and her husband Bob not only built a home out of the rocks they found on the property, but also built a business. So what you may not have seen during our intro on the facility is how it was actually made. If you take a quick look, you'll see that there's this huge boulder right there, and that boulder is sitting on kind of a pillar similar to this boulder. So what they did is they built the dwelling around that boulder, using the boulder as a large portion of their overall shelter for their house. So let's go take a quick tour around the outside and then a sneak peek on the inside as well.
So you can see the big boulder that's up there, and then you have all of these stones. Could you imagine how heavy these stones must have been for them to move from wherever they found them and to put them here, and then to use whatever they could find to put them all together to hold up so they didn't fall over? So let's go on around here. I wonder if this was actually here at that time. You know, how does the landscape change since 1920? So as you can see, they have a chimney. So they probably use that for cooking and for keeping warm. And this is another stone that they have used for part of their wall. There's also a window here. It has a little ledge. Just imagine that there's a little potted plant or something on that ledge. I think it would be cool to have that. Then you also see this other boulder that they use. This is the other side of the boulder that you saw on the front side of the house, and how they've put together a lot of these by using mud. The weather has definitely taken its toll on this structure here. The roof falling down. Here is the fireplace that we showed you on the outside where they did their cooking and kept themselves warm. There is a lot of graffiti around this area, but just take a moment and imagine how difficult living must have been to live in such a structure where it's all made out of rock. Right now it's approximately 50 degrees outside and it's chilly in here. And so they had to try to keep themselves warm also. The floor's dirt, a little bit of stone on the floor. Here's the window from the other side. How did they block off some of these windows to keep warm in when it was cold in the winter time? We'll all just have to imagine that. This is a smaller room that they may have blocked off here. I don't know, maybe this was the living room and that was the bedroom over there. Maybe this was their bedroom and that was their living room. Not really quite sure, but it's a smaller room. It has this ledge. As you can see, it's loaded with graffiti now. But they have this ledge, they have a nice window. So just, again, use your imagination of how they lived in this structure, because I find it very fascinating.
Imagine waking up to the view that's behind us every day. It's just amazing. It's easy to understand why they fell in love with a place like this. So you have these cliff walls that are behind us, little canyon that you can't quite see going up back there. All of these boulders that are behind us on the ground. Can you just imagine what it was like in 1920 to live here? There was no road then. There were no cars driving by every day. Just amazing. We hope you enjoyed this quick tour of Cliff Dwellers, Arizona. If you happen to find yourself hanging out in the Grand Canyon at the North Rim, and you're going to travel from there onto Kanab or Page or Lake Powell, this can be a destination, a stopping point for you along that road. It's a great place to stop, stretch your legs, enjoy a little bit of history that goes back 100 years. It's an amazing place to walk around a little bit amongst these boulders and to see structures that are more than 100 years old, and to read some of the carvings and etchings in the stones that are here. So make sure you make a little bit of time for a 15-minute stop and enjoy yourself.